Welcome to the Pretty Powerful Podcast, where powerful women are interviewed every week to share real inspiring stories and incredible insight to help women or anyone break the barriers, be a part of innovation, shatter the glass ceiling, and dominate to the top of their sport, industry, or life's mission. Join us as we celebrate exceptional women and step into our power. And now, here's your host, Angela Gennari.
Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Angela Gennari, and this is the Pretty Powerful Podcast. Today, I am super excited to talk to my next guest, Fabienne Fredrickson. Thank you so much for joining us, Fabienne.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
And we're speaking with you, and you are in France. Is that right?
I'm in France. I live in Paris. I'm on my 7th year, and we just bought a house in Provence, and I just arrived today. So I toggle between Paris and Provence.
Wow, what an amazing, beautiful life that must be. So I am so envious. So beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. So I want to introduce Fabienne. So for 20 plus years, Fabienne Fredrickson has powerfully mentored thousands of women business owners to grow and then scale their businesses, earning them tens of millions collectively each year while increasing their time off to enjoy the lives they love. Her leverage business methodology is based on nearly 15 years of experience in generating multiple 7 figures annually with 3 children at home while taking 14 weeks of unplugged vacations each year. It's proven to work. Oh my gosh, please tell me all about that, because I struggle with taking 1 week a year. So Fabienne's revolutionary book, The Leveraged Business, How You Can Go From Overwhelmed at 6 Figures to 7 Figures and Get Your Life Back, is the new definitive roadmap on how she's done it with heart and how you can too, without sacrificing your life. So thank you so much. I am super excited because I think one of the hottest topics that people are really engaging with right now is balance, right? Because the pandemic taught us like, hey, I kind of like my family. I'd like to hang out with them a little bit more. And hey, I like having a little bit of downtime in my life because I've been grinding through, the last few decades. And, now at the end of this, here I am, and we may not even have jobs at the end of this. So I think balance has kind of been the slap in the face we all needed to, to say, hey, listen, our lives matter. Let's enjoy them while we have them. Let's not wait until retirement when, nothing is guaranteed to us. And so I am so excited to talk to you because I think this is a really important topic. And, I think that what is most exciting to me is that you talk about being able to leverage your business so that you're not just, stepping back and taking a huge hit to have balance. You're not taking a major financial hit. You're talking about how to leverage what you have in your business to actually still make money, still grow, but also have balance. So let's dive in.
Yeah, it was actually funny because I just got this WhatsApp from one of my friends 2 days ago, who is a Leo like me,
like you.
Okay, great. And he's like, Fabienne, you're a Leo with a Libra rising. I'm like spilling the beans already.
Right.
And he's like, I'm a Leo with a Libra rising. And he's like, I laughed out loud when I read that. Leos with a Libra rising are all about doing a little bit of work and getting a lot of results.
Right.
And yes. I'm like, and he's laughing because he knows, he's like, that's the ultimate leverage. You're the leverage queen.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. There are way too many people who are, if I may say so, I'm just going to go straight into it.
Yeah.
Who've bought into, so many of us women, but guys too, who've bought into the fact that the only way to be successful is to work your tush off.
Yeah.
Right. And the only way to have a great life is to sacrifice. And I do not believe that. Right. And everything in the leveraged business is about that. And the whole premise is, what got you here, Angela, whoever's listening, what got you here at 6 figures, or maybe you're not yet at 6 figures, or maybe you're at multiple 6 or 7 figures, but you are sacrificing your downtime, I'm just going to use a word that's very French, your pleasure is not what's going to get you there.
Right.
And so the whole premise of everything that I've been teaching especially over the last 15 years, is to grow to 7 figures or multiple 7 figures with your life back, being able to take an unplugged vacation, like 3 weeks, take August off, take December off, is to do less better.
Yes. Oh gosh, I love it. Okay.
Okay.
So
So
I can't wait
we
to
can
learn
unpack,
all
yeah,
about
we
this.
can unpack that all day long. But the book has 8 leverage activators. And what I mean is people in my industry, their coaching industry, there are plenty of people who make 7 figures. Not
Sure.
many who have 3 kids at home, but there are
Right.
plenty of people who make 7 figures. But between you and me, they're working all day long, all night long. They cannot go on vacation without saying one more email and I'll be right there. Right.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? It's about, and people ask me, how do you do it? It's about reverse engineering. How do you have a crazy, delicious life while your business runs itself? So a self-managing business that grows, while you can choose to take time off. You can choose to just only do stuff you like in your business. And it's this series of activators. So it starts with, I mean, and you lead this conversation, but it's all about doing less better in all these different areas of your business.
Okay, I like it. So I am an ENTJ, right? And so efficiency is really, really, really important to me. And so I have low tolerance for inefficiency because time is money, time is important to me. And so I can appreciate doing less but more effectively. And so I do find though that I still work way too much, and I think part of it is my I'm always having, hey, we should try this, and instead of making somebody else the guinea pig, I go ahead and take this on. I'm like, okay, we should try this new software, we should try this, and then I kill myself learning it. And I don't really step back and say, okay, is this a good efficient use of my time, or can I delegate this?
Yeah. So here's what happens. So our friends who work in a corporation or work for somebody else, usually when I teach this from a stage, I grab an index card and I write on the index cards, delivery, right? So delivery is getting paid to do the work. So our friends in corporate, they clock in at 9, they clock out at 6, they are paid to deliver,
right?
Whatever that means, right? We are paid by our clients to deliver. So that's what's on one index card.
I agree.
We are different from our friends who work for somebody else because in addition to that, our friends don't have to market. So we have a second index card that says marketing. Yeah. And we have to market our business and get clients.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Third index card, selling. We have to close the clients because we can have leads, but if we don't learn how to close the sale, there's no money. Okay.
Right.
So that's third index card. Fourth, team. Yeah, hiring, firing, delegating, managing, right?
Yes.
So and then we got finances. That's like your 7th or 8th index card.
Yeah.
And then, there's customer service. And then there's like all the stuff, legal, taxes, HR. Okay, well, we already mentioned HR, but
yeah,
it's like, Angela, we have a minimum of 3 to 4 full-time jobs if you combine all of those.
Yes.
And then on top of that, you, I, and a lot of people listening to this are high idea generators.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially if you're a Leo like me.
Yeah. Right.
So we are blessed to be people who are visionaries. We look for opportunity everywhere, and we're never short of ideas. And the problem is we don't easily follow through, even if we're focused on efficiency. And here's how I know this. I've been a business coach for 21 years. I have been blessed and honored to have worked with tens of thousands of people. I know that sounds crazy, okay? Between our private clients, the people in our membership, and thousands of customers and people who have come to my events for 13, 14 years. I have them do assessments, two assessments. And what the assessments tell me is that they are people who love to start new things.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
Bright, bright, shiny object and,
Yes.
squirrel and,
Yes. Yeah.
really excited. Right. I mean, I don't have to
Mhm.
tell you. And we're also, most of us, 95% of us are like that. And also we're not wired to finish things.
Correct. Yeah.
So we
Oh,
have
yeah.
tons of ideas and we get a project to about 60 to 80%. And then we lose steam. It's no longer interesting. We move on to the next bright, shiny object. And this is what happens is we get overwhelmed. So now we have these 8 index cards of jobs and we've got all this stuff we haven't finished. We're overwhelmed. And where most of our friends who work in corporate, they'll shut it down at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and then go home and they pick it back up in the morning. We put the kids to bed.
Yep.
And then we go back to our computer.
That's right. Yep.
Right.
That's right.
This is because we haven't leveraged the important aspects of our business. And by the way, this is normal, this whole high idea generation and not following through, right?
Right.
If you think about the word entrepreneur, it comes from the verb entreprendre in French, which means to initiate.
Oh, interesting.
We're fabulous initiators.
Right.
We just can't follow through on every idea.
Right.
So
right.
here's what we need. We need to leverage the team.
Okay.
You know this. I'm sure you have a team, right? You don't get to where you are when you're at a really great place. You don't get to where you are without a team.
That's right.
But most people don't have the right team, or else let's explain it this way. The team that got you here won't get you there.
Yes. I agree. You have to, your team has to grow up with your ideas.
Right. And your team, what you want with your team ideally, and this is this is the first chapter of the Leveraged Business book, is that your team should run your business for you. So the myth is that we should run our business. The myth is that everybody who starts a business should run their business. This is not true. We're not wired to run our business because we can't follow through on everything, right? We don't dot all the I's, cross all the T's. And so we need to have a collective group of people who are uniquely wired to follow through on all of our great ideas, the ones that make sense, to also to get the people who work with us and for us to be intrapreneurs. I don't mean entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs.
So what does that
one
mean?
of the things, so one of the things that we teach in our program is that from the get-go, before you even hire anybody, you put it in your job description, wherever you put it, and you say, we are an intrapreneurial company, in the sense that when you come in here, we are a process-driven company.
Yes.
And we have transparency and everything is tied to results. So we say, if you are looking to, a cushy thing, and you're trying to get away with getting as little done as possible, this is probably not the right place for you, because we have accountability here and stuff like that. However, if you are somebody who's hungry to make a difference and you want to use all your skills and you love being part of a team that is kicking tush and taking names, and you want to be recognized, you want autonomy, you want to be celebrated, you want to use all the things that you're great at, this is going to be the place for you. You will have that autonomy. It's like basically they will have their own business inside your business.
Interesting.
And when you hire the right people, and I'll give you something that it's not even in the book, I'll share it here. Gretchen Rubin wrote a book called The 4 Tendencies.
Okay.
Do you know who she is?
No.
Okay, so the four tendencies basically breaks down, categorizes people into four categories.
Okay.
And she says you're either an obliger, an upholder, a questioner, or a rebel. And it's all about how you respond to inner and outer expectations. And basically, an obliger responds to outer expectations, but not inner
Okay.
expectations. An upholder responds to inner and outer expectations. A questioner, inner expectations. And a rebel, I'm a rebel. I don't respond to either unless it's fun and I want to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And so the way that you hire, you can have people take assessments when you're hiring them to respond to your expectations. And that's a hack that nobody I know is using, but you can build a team. This is one of the many, many things that we share. You can build a team that is so excited because they love to respond to expectations.
Interesting. I like that a lot. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because I think that's the hardest challenge that I've dealt with in my business is getting, the people closest to me to share my vision and want to push through the initiatives, because, and I found that sometimes the hardest people to hire are from the corporate world because small business has a very different mentality, right? Like you really have to come in and grind. There's no cushy positions in a small business. Everybody has to be working their butts off to make it work because
I'm telling you,
it's
yeah,
hard.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that, so when I've hired people from, corporate backgrounds who have, hey, I've been in corporate for 20 years and I've climbed this ladder, but they're the ones who want to delegate to other people. And in small business world, you kind of have to own that. You have to own your position in that company. And I don't find that a whole lot when you hire from corporate because they're used to having a support team around them.
And I feel like there's a lot of entitlement. They want to come in at 100,000 or something like that. And I'm thinking, well, that's all good.
Right.
How are you going to pay for yourself?
Yes.
Because
exactly.
in a company like ours, there's no cushy $150,000 position. You got to pay for yourself.
Right.
And then some.
Right.
And I'll tell you this, we have a bold heart hiring process. Bold Heart is the name of my company. And if somebody's wondering why I bring that up, there's a bold heart hiring process that says I will not talk to anyone unless I know a few of their assessment scores.
Okay. Interesting.
We don't hire without assessments. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money, especially when you're hiring. And then 3 months later, the honeymoon is 3 months, like you're like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and you're like, they're not getting it done.
Right.
It's because you're not leveraging the right type of person for that position. Every position needs its own wiring.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, because, we've had positions where, somebody has left the company. And so we've morphed that position into another position and personality wise, it may not be a good fit. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, just, tacking on extra duties to somebody because another person has left isn't necessarily the best role. You have to hire for that position.
Absolutely. And different people, however this sounds, different people are different. So your salesperson needs to be wired totally differently than your customer relations person, than your data entry person,
right?
Than your finance person, right? I mentioned this in the book. We hire using 4 criteria. I'll list them now. The first one is experience. This is a given,
right?
The second one is skill set. This is a given.
Yeah.
Although those two you can hire if you can get somebody out of school without experience and without skill set, and you'll teach them, and then you pay less because they're just out of school. But those are the negotiable ones. The non-negotiable ones are wiring. Are they wired to be in that position? And
yeah.
I have gotten people's results and the whole team has said, oh, they're great, they're great. And I look and I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
However you can judge me for being rude and not getting on the phone, but I'm like, I'm not talking to them. They're a lovely person, but it will be a waste of their time and my time. If we have this conversation, it will be a waste of their time and our time as a company, because we will not be the right company for their bigger future, and they will not be the right person for our bigger future. So there's that. So that's the wiring. And then the fourth is culture fit.
Yes.
You can't make somebody be wired other than how they're wired. And you can't make somebody fit your culture. You can't force somebody to.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So if your company is like positive and loving and above and beyond and own it and speak up and always improving, and they're not that way, you can't make somebody be that way. So I know we've spent quite some time talking about leveraging the right team, but it starts there. And that's why it's chapter 1 of the book. And the first module of what we teach is because it starts with the team. Once you have the team, you can leverage systems. Once you have the team and the systems, you can leverage your time. Once you have your team, systems, and time, you can leverage your business model. And that's what helps you get to 7 figures with your life back.
Yeah, absolutely. So I couldn't agree more. The team is so important. And we do a different assessment in my company. We do what's called the, You Said This, I Heard That. Have you ever heard of this book by Kathleen Edelman?
No, tell me about it.
So it's an interesting book. She's a Christian based author, and I learned about it actually in church one day, and I was like, I've got to read that. And now it's something that we actually do with every new hire in our company. And so I have a very, kind of dominant red personality. So your personality type is put into categories of colors, right? So you're red, blue, green, or yellow. And so, and then it's divided up into those 4 categories are then you are an extroverted process-oriented person, you're an extroverted people-oriented person, or you're an introverted people-oriented or an introverted process-oriented. And each one of those things will interpret what is said in a different way, right? So it's more about temperament than anything, and it's about communication style. Yeah, so it's about communication styles. So for me, I tend to be very direct and efficient. And so I may not start an email with like, hey, Fabienne, how's your day going? I hope your kids are good. How's everything at home? Did you enjoy your vacation? No, I'm going to get to the point. And I'm going to say, hey, I needed this thing on my desk at 3:00. How far are we? What's the ETA? Right? Whereas somebody who is a yellow personality will go into a whole lot of the, how are you? How are you doing? I'm a process oriented person, right? So I'm focused on the result, the end, what is the function that we're discussing? Whereas a people-oriented person is going to focus on the person, with the process being secondary. And so how I can communicate with my team makes a difference, right? So if I know I'm talking to my recruiter who is a pretty solid green, so she's introverted, people-oriented, so like the opposite than me, right? I have to maybe to be effective in communication, I may want to tailor that a little bit more to get more out of her, right? And so that she doesn't think I'm being stern or demanding. And so, for me, it just is, hey, I was just asking what the ETA is. And she's like, are you mad at me? And I think that communication style really makes a big difference in the office environment or in a team environment, right? Because if your team is communicating, it's almost like speaking different languages, right? So you don't want to be offensive to somebody, but yet you want to get your point across. So maybe you can tailor that a little bit more to get more out of people, to have that more effective communication.
That's great.
It's a fascinating book.
I love it. I'm telling you, I even use these assessments in my marriage with my children.
Sure, absolutely.
I have learned that when I know how he's wired differently, or what my kids wiring is, whatever we'll call it,
Yeah.
I feel like I can speak their language more, which makes
Yes.
me understood more. And honestly, this is it. If I could add another chapter, it would be leverage your communication, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think with every relationship you have, even with my son, sometimes I'll say something to him and I can tell that, this has hurt him, or, or he's trying to explain something to me. And I realize I have to be patient because he's communicating to me in the way he does best. And just because I'm like, hurry up and get it,
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
be patient. I have to really pay attention to his communication style so that he knows that I'm engaged in the conversation. But I think it's fascinating for every aspect of life. But I think when you're talking to clients and when you're growing your business, it really does make a difference because you want your clients to know that you hear them, right? Because at the end of the day, we all just want to be heard. We all just want to feel like what we have to say is relevant.
And here's the thing is that here's what I've learned. Every person on earth wants to be seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just what you said, seen, heard.
Right.
They want to feel significant.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I know this is crazy to talk about in business, but they want to feel loved.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know a single person, if you were to stop one of your friends, one of your, children, if you're listening, or a person on the street, and you said, could you use more love in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Would you refuse more love in your life? No one would refuse more love. Everybody'd say, yeah, I'll take more love in my life.
Yeah.
There are people who are not even that loved at home.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so this is actually one of the things we talk about in the leverage your marketing activator. The leverage your marketing activator is getting back to how do you get to multiple seven figures, multiple seven figures with your life back, is to change how you market.
Okay.
And part of that, there's two parts. There's a practical part, which we can get to. It has the 80-20 rule. And I know you like efficiency, so we can talk about that in a second. But the emotive part is that and I understood this a long time ago. And it's also, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I just love love, right?
Yeah.
But I started thinking about, wait, everybody on earth wants to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wants to feel seen, heard, like they matter, significant, but they don't necessarily feel that at home, or they don't feel loved enough. Wait, people go where they are loved.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what if everything that you did in your marketing was not only valuable, but if it was a love letter?
Oh, interesting. Okay. I
Right?
love it. Yeah. Yeah.
So however cheesy it sounds, and I've had people come to my events and be like, I just had to meet you because I can't believe that you sign your business emails, love, Fabienne. I'm like, well, this is who I am, and this is our culture.
Right.
Right. And she's like, oh my God, this is you. This is actually who you are. And what I have found, Angela, is that when you full on love people in your marketing, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, because you're not marketing to a corporation, you're not marketing to a tractor, you're marketing to a human being.
Right.
And every
Exactly.
human being wants to be loved. And when you can love and appreciate them and make them feel seen, heard, and you have compassion for them, they will pay attention. They will come back to your marketing messages as if they were a gift. And then they will sign up with you, refer, return, and stay for a long time.
Wow. I love that. And so just to kind of circle into, this is the difference between a woman-owned and a man-owned company, because how many men would say, let's love on our customers, let's love on our employees. And so this is, I think, one of the big distinguished, parts of being a woman, being a woman in business, is that we can see that and the impact that it has, and the compassion and the empathy and the, let's show emotion in business, and let's, I know that, there's a, what is the marketing terminology where they say, what is it? it just it's escaping me right now, but it was basically like you want people to know, why does this matter to me, right? And more than that, they say, if you want somebody to pay attention, tell them, why does this matter to them, right? Like that's how you sell something. Why does this matter to me? Don't just come in and say, hey, my product does XYZ. I want to know how your product that does XYZ impacts me. Why does it matter in my life, right? And so I think that that also kind of circles back to the show people that you care, by actually saying, hey, I think this would improve your business, and be a problem solver. I see that you might be struggling with this. This is how I think we can improve your business. What do you think? And, kind of give them that engagement.
Here, I totally agree with you. In human relations, in the end, everybody wants to going back. Everybody wants to feel significant. Yes. And if you go into, whether it's a networking group, or you're on stage, or you're in a sales conversation, and you're like, let me tell you about my 30 years of this, and blah, 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 blah. And they're going to tune out.
Yes.
Instead, if you say, let me guess, you're working longer hours than you really want to. You pay yourself less than you wish you paid yourself. You're not taking enough vacations. You say too many times, one more email and mommy will be right there.
Yep.
You wish that you could give more, travel more, make a bigger impact. You wish your business was going further. You wish you weren't so tired at the end of the day. And then you stop talking. The right person will say, how do you know so much about me? Tell me more.
Yes, absolutely.
You start with them. You start with them. You get their attention by saying, I see you.
Yes.
And then you shut up.
Yeah.
And then they say, so tell me more. And then you say, it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah.
And then you tell them what it can be like. You can grow. You can make a bigger impact. You can get yourself out of the day-to-day operations of your business. You can do only the stuff you like and delegate the rest, and delegate effectively, and have people that you love and that you trust, who keep taking things off your plate and happily, and who buy into your vision, and who say, let's grow this thing together. And no, do not stay. Go be with your children. Go on vacation. Take the month off. We got this.
Right.
You paint that for them. You don't have to say that much more. If it's the right person, they'll say, okay, all right, let's talk.
Right.
And then you can tell them about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or whatever your version of a business is, right?
And that's so valuable, such valuable advice, because I think when we're hiring, we're so focused on the resume, and, we're not ultimately engaging their heart. We're engaging their mind. What can you do for me? How fast can you do it? But instead, if you're, hey, what matters to you, and how can we give you that? Because I want you to give me something that matters to me. And so where do we come to that compromise? Where can we figure that out together? You get what you want out of this. I get what I want out of this. And together we're growing and we're accomplishing our goals. So I think that's a good way to hire. And, instead of, I say all the time with people when I'm hiring, I say, I can teach them whatever skill they need to know. I can't teach them to be a good team leader. I can't teach them to be, hospitable in an event environment where we are. I can't teach them to engage. I can't teach them how to have a great personality, to have confidence. I can't teach them any of those things. I can only teach them the skills. So I would rather have somebody who has a great personality, who's hungry to succeed, who wants to do the right things for the company. I'd rather hire that person with no experience than somebody who has 20 years of experience, who's very set in their ways. They have their own plan of how it's going to get done. And, your job is just the next one that they're going to tick off their resume. I would much rather hire the hungry young person.
My husband and I, because my husband and I work together, and we have this kind of like a code thing when we are interviewing somebody. I'm happy to share it with you. It's you're either hungry, you're either famished, like I'm famished,
right?
You're hungry, or yeah, I could eat.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
You know how like you're like, do you want a sandwich to somebody? And they're like, yeah, I mean, I could eat.
Yeah.
And I'm famished
Hmm.
because I've had people within my company that I've offered a bigger position to, and they were like, yeah. And I slacked my husband, and all I just said was, she could eat. And he's like, yep. And you know, we didn't go further.
Yeah,
And I think that's what
yeah.
you're describing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I agree with you. So I'm just fascinated by this book, and I cannot wait to dive into it. I am going to read it and really understand a little bit more about all of these leverage opportunities. So tell me, if you're at a plateau, like we had talked a little bit right before the podcast about, you know, when you hit a plateau, and that's where I feel like I've gone with my business, like we've reached the goal, you know, we've gotten to where we want to go, but now we want to make that next jump forward, you know. So we're in a great place. That next jump forward, I don't know, you know, like you were saying, what got you here won't get you there, right? So
Yeah.
how do you take that leap and that next jump forward? I've got a team, we're operating, we're doing exactly what we need to do, we're exactly on track to meet our revenue goals for where we have been, but we're still on that plateau. How do I reach that next level?
Are you open to hearing it?
Yes.
Yeah. You probably have become the bottleneck in your business.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I
You're
don't I don't
you're too
disagree with
much
you.
in, yeah, you're too much in your business.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what happens. Okay. When you and I started our business,
Yep.
we had a hand in everything.
Right.
I call it being a control enthusiast. I'm not going to use the other word, right? Control enthusiast,
Uh-huh.
because we had no money, we couldn't
Right.
afford the team. And it was just like,
Mhm.
we had to control everything to have it be the way we needed to. And as we grew our businesses, we're like hiring people, we give them a little bit, but like, we still want to, you know, run this by me before, and we, you know, we're in too many meetings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is, what, you know, once you get to 100,000, 250,000 a year, it's okay. But after that, when you're at multiple six figures and seven figures, being the bottleneck is the worst thing you could do. Now,
Yeah.
and by the way, there's nothing wrong with being that, because we didn't go to bottleneck school,
Right.
right? We don't right, we don't know. I mean, until the leveraged business program, like I don't
Yeah.
know of a leverage your business school, right? And so what's happening is that most of us were not taught to hire a team to run the business for us, but a team that we trust, so that we don't have to helicopter manage them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Once we have the right team in the right seats with the right vision, and they're entrepreneurial, then we leverage systems, and it's about becoming not a personality driven company, but a process driven company.
Mm.
And the team creates the process according to a few very important set of criteria, and then they run the process.
Yeah.
It's not a personality driven business, it's a process driven business. Now, what happens to the business owner who previously was the bottleneck and had a hand in everything
Mm-hmm.
is, now she's got the team. This takes about 3 to 6 months. Okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
not overnight, but it doesn't take 2 years. It's about
Right.
3 to 6 months. You got the right team running the right systems, and it's a culture thing now. Okay.
Mm.
Then the business owner trusts and can pull herself out of the day-to-day operations of the business, and she's not then eating bonbons on the sofa. She
Right.
then starts to think about, what's my 80-20? What's the Pareto principle of my time?
Mm.
Now, here's the very cool thing. Most of us are working too many hours. Remember all those index cards that I
Oh
talked
yeah.
about?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that needs to happen is we need to get really clear on our unique brilliance activities.
Oh,
Now, if you
interesting.
look at
Okay.
one of the things this is what we teach in year 1 of the program, is that you'll sit down at some point and you'll map everything you do into 4 quadrants. And there's the unique brilliance quadrant,
Okay.
which is where you make 80% of your money, but
Okay.
most people spend 60% of their time in their I can do this quadrant, the competence quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you make no money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you remove the person from competence and incompetence activities, and you bump them up with the right team, the right systems, and the right boundaries into their unique brilliance activities. And most people don't know what their fourth, it's usually 3 to 5 unique brilliance activities. Once you know what those are, and you set up the whole process to just live there, boom, you're working on not only in your unique brilliance, which feeds you, which you're crushing it. Like this is what you would do for free all day long. And
right.
Ironically, this is the stuff that will make you money all day long. And then you take that because your team has taken all this extra stuff off your plate. So you've gained back about 6 hours a day. Then you use that time on exponential growth activities, not necessarily money generating activities. Yes, they can be part of that, but exponential growth activities, which at Bold Heart we call EGAs, as opposed to NEGAs, non-exponential growth activities. And the way you figure that out, other than figuring out what your unique brilliance activities are, is how you use your time. The Pareto principle. Pareto principle states that 80% of your activities produce 20% of your results.
Okay. Yeah, that's about
So
accurate.
you're an efficiency gal. That's not that great.
Right. That's about accurate though. So if you think about it, yeah, your time. I agree.
Right. So you're wasting, if you're working, 10 hours a day, you're wasting 8 hours of your day.
Yes. Oh gosh. Putting it in real terms like that, it hurts.
Seriously, right? It hurts.
It hurts.
Everybody that I talk to, when they first come in and they do this exercise, they're like, man, what have I been doing all these years? Conversely, 20% of the activities that you're working on right now produce 80% of your results.
Right.
Bing. Now, let's play a game. Let's remove the 80% of activities or delegate them.
Okay.
You take the 20% that already produced the 80%. Guess what we're going to do? Turn the 20 into the 80.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's leverage.
That's leverage. Absolutely.
That's leverage.
Yeah.
That's how you scale your business exponentially in about 24 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's something I think as entrepreneurs we could really work on, because I mean, you're absolutely right. There's so many times in my business that I think to myself, I could be doing something that's more efficient with my time, and there's a million of those things, right? A million of them. And there's so many initiatives I want to take on, but I'm too busy working in my business and not enough time working on my business. And so I try to pull myself out of the weeds, and I'll even tell my team, okay, guys, I don't need to handle these things. I'm stepping back so that I can work on the business. But then what has happened, and what I have created, this culture of people who default to me, right? And so there's so many times where I'll get a call from an employee saying, hey, I'm looking at the schedule for next week and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why are you on the phone with me? There's 3 other people in the company that handle schedules. This is the one thing I don't do. And I've tried to train people and say, listen, if you've called me and said, I want, this changed in my payroll, I need this, and this. And I will say, I'm not your gal. Like, I would love to help you, but I don't do that. I don't do that function anymore. I've delegated that function. I said, if you want something to go into a black hole and just stall, give it to me. give it to me, because I
Yeah.
have too many things on my plate. And so everything just stalls. People think, oh, I'm just going to call Angela and it'll get done. No, no, no. What happens is it gets put on the list as like, item number 27 on my to-do list, and it will continue to be on that to-do list for the next 3 weeks.
This
So
is the bottleneck.
yeah. And
Yeah.
this is where I keep telling people, I'm like, listen, please stop. If I'm the only person on your email chain, you're doing it wrong. Because
Yeah.
copy the people.
But
If
so
it's
see,
a need to know, then fine. But other than that,
it's
copy the people who
it's
can do it.
it's not a thing that can be changed overnight. And I think I
Mm.
sense the frustration.
Yeah.
It's a systemic
Yeah.
issue in the sense that we have to go leverage quite a few things
Yes.
before that happens. Now, again, it won't take long.
Mm-hmm. But I have to unwind myself. It has to be a conscious decision to do that. And to also, like I'm trying to re-educate my team about that. But it is like I've created the bottleneck myself by needing to do everything and by being the default. And now I'm trying to unwind it. And it's so difficult to re-educate and like reinform, like, hey guys, this is not a me thing. I don't have to handle this. This is not something that needs to come across my desk. It's great if you copy me on an email, but the email should be sent to our office manager, our recruiter, our, this person, that person. So, it really does. You're absolutely right. I've created a bottleneck, and that's why, my time is probably 80% inefficient, because I need to unwind myself from that.
There is a point at which you or anybody who's listening to this can absolutely no longer be in the weeds in your business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No longer the bottleneck. Mm-hmm. No longer working on things that you don't like to work on. And instead, you're only doing what you love and that comes to you naturally.
Yes.
That you love to do. You got the team who knows exactly what to do, how to do it. They're following a process. We didn't even talk about leveraging accountability. Mm-hmm. Okay. But when you leverage your accountability in the business, the team holds itself accountable to reaching the goals without you pushing them.
Yes.
So then you are focusing on what is the big 10x vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And within 2 to 3 years, you're looking at your numbers and you're like, how? Mm-hmm. How did this happen? And I worked so much less.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's the goal for sure. And, my son is 16, I'm running out of time with him. And, it matters to me where my time is being spent right now. But yes, you're absolutely
and also
right.
You probably want to set, my sense is that you're an amazing mother, right?
Well, thank you.
I think that we also want, I have three teenagers. Oh my God. But what I sense is that most of us want to also be really great role models for our kids.
Oh yeah.
And we want to show them how to make very good money without killing themselves in the process. Absolutely. And so there is the piece about becoming the example for our children.
Awesome. I love it. I love it so much. Okay. So I know we're running out of time, and I need to ask you a couple of questions. So, you have been such an inspiration, and I am just dying to open this book and start reading through it, because I think there's just so much valuable information in there. But what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
The reason I named my company Bold Heart, which doesn't sound like a business training company, but it's because I really believe that, and I wish I'd known this when I was younger, is I believe in putting your ear to your heart and listening hard to what your dreams are instead of listening to others.
Wow.
So boldly listening to your heart and then boldly going after it unapologetically and pushing out the naysaying voices.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. I love it. So tell me, as women, we often give our power away. So we will give our power away to our spouse, to our coworkers, to people on the street. And I think that that is a natural reaction for a woman. If somebody tries to give us credit, we immediately dismiss the credit, and we give our power to somebody else. Oh, it's because of so and so that I was successful. So, and then, but stepping back into our power is very difficult. And I imagine that you have done both, and that I think as all women, we've done it, right? So tell me about a time that you gave away your power, and then tell me about another time that you stepped into your power and what made the difference for you in those two occasions.
Gosh, throughout my life, I've done both.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of the bold, can I tell you about like a time when I was 25, but it
Yes.
marked me?
Yes,
So
please.
I remember I was dating this boy, and we were at a party. I know this sounds crazy to talk on a business call, but we were at a party, and we're in a circle surrounded by his friends, and I'm talking, and he interrupts me.
Wow.
And I was like, hi, I'm not finished.
Oh, good for you. Good for
And
you.
I just said that. I'm like, I'm not finished. And his
Mhm.
friends are like, ooh, she just put you in your place. And I was like, I didn't finish my sentence.
Right.
And
Yeah.
from that moment forward, I realized we as women have been reared societally
Mhm.
to take to be second class.
Right.
But I don't believe that. I
Good for
believe that
you.
the divine made us absolutely equal,
Mhm.
absolutely worthy. In fact, I wrote a second book called Embrace Your Magnificence. And the first chapter says, you are holding two babies. They're different cultures, they look different, they're from different places. You're looking into their eyes, each of them. That's a personal growth and development book. You're looking into each of their eyes. Which one is more valuable, more worthy of love, and all of the abundance in the world? When you're looking at their little eyes and they're gurgling up at you, what's the answer?
Mhm.
Neither
Oh,
of them are worthy of more love than the other.
right.
Both. And
Mhm.
we are that baby now, maybe like 30, 40, 50 years
Yeah.
later, right? And so the divine made every single person on this planet as worthy and deserving of abundance as everyone else, no matter how we've been reared. So whether we're feminine, masculine, all the things, I
Yeah.
answer, everyone is worthy of love, abundance, and all of the blessings that this world
Absolutely.
has to offer.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. Well, and one more thing I have to ask, what do you wish more people knew?
How magnificent they are, and how worthy and deserving, and how they could actually. Here's the thing. I really believe my father passed away in December.
I'm
And
sorry.
one of the things that I gave in his, oh, thank you, that's very kind. In his eulogy, I said, here's what I learned from my father, is that he always said, quel est ton objectif? What is your objective? He would, every time I battled with, what do I do? And he would always answer, what's your objective? What's the end result? And
Wow.
and I translated it, but it was like, Fabienne, get clear,
Mm-mm.
then reverse engineer and get in gear.
Wow. That's beautiful. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
And
Yes.
that's how we came up with the leveraged business, because women were asking me, how are you're now at like multiple seven figures a year. For now, I'm on my 15th year.
Good for
I
you.
take a crazy amount of vacation, crazy
Yep.
amount, but I'm still very present with all the team and everything and the clients. And I said, okay, let me reverse engineer.
Yeah.
And then I came up with I leverage this, I leverage this, I leverage the 8 leverage activators. And then now I teach them how to use them to get in gear. So get clear, reverse engineer, get in gear.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Great insight. I have really enjoyed this conversation and
Thank
such
you.
valuable insight for all of our audience listening today. And I cannot encourage everyone enough to please go buy your book and learn this for themselves and reach out to you if they need a little help in leveraging their own lives to reach that pinnacle of where they want to be. And it's not just about the money, it's about the quality of life. Right. And
Absolutely.
so definitely am jealous of you having your house in Provence. I may have to come crash.
You should. It's really nice.
but no, I think it's very admirable. And I am so incredibly appreciative of your time and your insight today. So thank you so much, Fabienne, for your guidance today.
Thanks, Angela. I loved being here with you.
Yeah. So this is the end of our podcast today. Thank you all so much for joining us. And please do reach out to theprettypowerfulpodcast.com. You can find all of the information for Fabienne, and then you can also check out her book. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining our guests on the Pretty Powerful Podcast. And we hope you've gained new insight and learned from exceptional women. Remember to subscribe or check out this and all episodes on prettypowerfulpodcast.com. Visit us next time, and until then, step into your own power.